Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Amir Karam, board certified facial plastic surgeon, and I specialize in facial rejuvenation and have a deep passion for all things that make us look as young as we feel, and at the center of that is young looking skin. So without further ado, I want to talk about a topic that is very commonly brought up, and that is, how do I get rid of my big pores? How do I handle the pores or manage the pores? Pores is sort of that classic negative skin finding that people don't like because it leaves them looking like they have pits in their skin and dark spots, what looks like micro holes in the skin. So for a lot of people, it's a real nemesis and something that they want to take care of. And I think there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of lack of understanding on this topic. So I thought, you know what, let's help you really understand, number one, what it is, why they form, and what you can do about it at home, and also what type of treatments are available for you to do, you know, at a medical spa or doctor's office to improve them. So let's kind of break this down in bite-sized pieces, and let's start with, you know, what they are. So keep in mind now, pores are channels. They exist in all skin. Everyone has pores. There's two types of pores. There are pores that are related to the sebaceous glands, which are oil-producing glands, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And then there are sweat glands. There are channels in the skin that allow the sweat to come out of. There's channels in the skin to allow oil to come out of. They're meant to be there. They're not abnormal, they're not unusual. Now we're gonna focus for a moment specifically on what happens to these pores if they get clogged. So what unfortunately occurs sometimes is those little channels, they'll get blocked. And if you think about them as pipes leading from the center of the gland all the way to the surface of the skin, if they get clogged at the top, well, the substance inside, whether it's oil or sweat glands, they're gonna get dilated and they're gonna get broader and bigger, and therefore you have an enlarged pore. And more likely, we're talking about the oil-producing gland, so we're gonna kind of focus on the sebaceous gland. So let's talk about where they come from. The sebaceous gland comes from a apparatus at the base of a hair follicle. Now, we have hair on our head, we have, you know, we have beards on our face, but all of us has tiny little hairs on our surface of our skin, very, very small, very fine, you can't even see them. And at the base of them, there's a sebaceous gland leading to a pore, an opening at the surface of the skin. The backing up of that pore by blockage up top causes it to dilate. A common condition that happens from blocked pores is also acne. When people have acne, it's because that outlet ends up getting blocked by whatever is on the surface, bacteria that gets caught in that channel, and as a result turns into acne. So let's get down to what you can do to correct this problem or keep it from happening. So number one, it's about healthy, clean skin. So let's talk very, very briefly about what that means. So healthy, clear means firm, supple skin that doesn't have dirt, debris on top of it. Now, for women used to wearing makeup, for both men and women, we put sunscreen on. These, in addition to the oil production that happens normally, are all things that can cause the pore to get clogged up. So dirt, debris, makeup, dead skin cells, as well as just the loss of firmness to the skin as a result of dehydration and just overall aging can cause the structure around the channel to get weakened so that the channel can get blocked, and as a result, the pore can get dilated. So here are some basic things. Take great care of your skin in general, right? In general means good healthy diet, good hydration, good sun protection, and I'll talk about why sun protection is really important, but anything you can do to keep your skin from aging. Being on a really good daily routine, what you're doing from a daily skincare point of view, and I'm going to talk about those components in a moment, is really important to keep that skin healthy and vibrant for the long run. Make sure, especially if you have oily skin type, you're not putting on very oily type products. Now there's products that are termed non-comedogenic, which just basically mean that they're mostly water-based or have less oil in them. Because if you're already producing a lot of oil, sometimes you don't want to have oil in addition to it, which can further clog the pores and cause the pores to dilate. So water-based products are really important. But really, really ubiquitous and super important for everyone is what you do to cleanse the skin. So cleansing the skin is something you should be doing twice a day, morning and night. Getting into the habit of just making sure you wash your skin at night and in the morning, because in the morning you wake up and there's oil production that's been happening. You want to kind of reset everything and get everything back on track, as well as opening up those channels in the skin to allow products to penetrate and get into the skin. So cleansing morning and night is the key. There's a lot of different ingredients in cleansers. Sometimes they're alcohol-based. Sometimes cleansers have some degree of alcohol, which can further dry the skin. Now, this might sound a little counterproductive, but when you dry the skin responds sometimes by building more oil, produces more oil. That increased oil production leads more to oily skin and also causing blockage down the road. Sometimes they're highly abrasive, meaning that they put in things like bamboo and things like that to kind of give you a little bit of exfoliation. Sometimes they are highly foaming. All of that is no good, because all of those things irritate and aggravate the skin, which leads to inflammation. Inflammation leads to the surrounding area around those pore channels to get clogged, as well as the surface of the skin, the inflammation redness, causing that pore to get blocked. So inflammation and dirt and debris are underlying reasons why that happens. So here's what you do to kind of avoid that with the cleansing step, which I think is probably one of the most important steps in any type of skincare routine. Gel-based cleansers are what you want to use, okay? Gel-based cleansers. Mildly foaming cleansers, not highly foaming, because foam formation and the use of that can be abrasive at a microscopic level to the surface of the skin. So mildly foaming, gel-based cleansers are very, very important. Make sure you don't rub your face when you dry it. Don't, be harsh on the skin. Pat your eye with a gentle towel. Use lukewarm water. Those are all really basic sort of cleansing hygiene steps that are important to remove the oil and debris, the makeup off the surface of the skin. If you wear makeup, make sure you don't go to bed with makeup on your skin. If you wear sunscreen during the day, make sure you wash your skin at night. Sun protection, why is that so important? Well, first of all, sun, as we know in the long run, breaks down the skin. You lose the structural integrity, you lose elasticity, you lose collagen production. The skin starts to break down and age. And we already talked about why that's important, because it kind of messes with the whole structural and architecture of pores and skin, and makes it look less firm and less supple, therefore not keeping those channels nice and open and causing them to bend. That's the long term. But in the short term, sun dries the skin. Drying the skin, again, leads back to that concept of increasing oil production and increasing the sebum from the sebaceous glands to come out and causing more of the stuff that you don't necessarily want on the surface of the skin, leading to potential blockage. So sun protection on a daily basis is really, really important. Other general important steps are things like exfoliation. So especially as we get older, top layer of the skin starts to build the dead layer of the stratum corneum. It's the absolute top layer of the epidermis of the skin. Like layers of an onion starts to get thicker and thicker, and as a result of all the dead keratin producing cells and material being on top of the skin not only becomes dull, but also gets clogged up even more, because it's not able to breathe through that. So an exfoliating type of a regimen, whether it's 2 times a week or 3 times a week, is really important. Categories of exfoliation, these are things that we can use like over-the-counter salicylic acid, glycolic acid, so categories of alpha hydroxy acids as well as beta hydroxy acids. It can be used in light formulations a couple times to 3 times a week to help exfoliate the outer layers. You don't want to over-exfoliate, because that again creates inflammation and abuse to the skin, leading to clogging of pores and going down that road that you don't want. So moderation in that respect is really important. There's also enzymatic exfoliators, one that I'm actually currently developing that will be out in a few months, that will very safely and very effectively exfoliate the skin using enzymes, which is really exciting. You can follow my KaramMD Skin account for when that hits. Other really important aspects are general good skin hygiene using products like retinol. So retinol is really important because it does several important functions that help with this. One is it is a micro exfoliator, so you're getting a little bit of peeling and removal of the dead surface of the skin, functioning as a very, very superficial chemical peel agent in light doses. So you're getting some constant exfoliation when you're using retinol on a regular basis. And then there's niacinamide. Niacinamide is really also an important part of skincare regimens, because it increases the firmness and structural integrity of the skin and improves the skin barrier wider so that it allows the architecture and support of that pore to remain open. So when you're looking at the structural issues, those are the sort of foundational things. And then there comes to something that's somewhat counterintuitive. And that is, if you have naturally oily skin, or if you have dry skin, you're thinking, okay, there are two opposite problems. We know oil production increases pore cloggage. So what should you do? Now here's the deal. Moisture to the skin and proper hydration to the skin actually balance and reduce the production of oil in the skin. So the less you have to rely on the sebaceous glands to produce sebum and oil to hydrate the skin, what you're going to do, if you can bring in moisture externally through moisturizer, again, non-oil based moisturizers, proper skin hydration, guess what? You're going to significantly reduce the production of oil from the sebaceous glands and therefore decrease. These are all the things that you can do at home, but what if you want to take it to the next level? What are some of the office-based treatments that you can do? I would say the most consistent one and the least expensive one and the simplest one for you to get involved in is microneedling. There are some home rollers that you can use, but also going to the office and getting microneedling, whether it's every 6 weeks or so, or once a quarter, is a good idea, because that injury that's caused by those needles, again, stimulates collagen production and creates structural firmness, can reduce pores size as a result of just improving the overall skin architecture. All right, so 100% realize I just blew your mind with tons of steps, tons of things, and you're like, okay, where do I start? How do I do it? I'll tell you this, and this is not necessarily meant to be a plug for my products that I develop, but it just occurred to me, as I was kind of researching this topic and wanting to bring it to you, that basically everything that we have just discussed, and again, you can go out and buy each one of these things separately, but the KaramMD trifecta, KaramMD is the brand that I developed, and the trifecta is the 3-step process, basically has everything already embedded into it. So here's what it comes down to. So for example, rinse, which is the step 1, is your cleansing step. Well, in addition to being gel-based and mildly foaming, it also has 4 or 5 anti-inflammatories inside of it, which help decrease redness, help decrease inflammation at the level of the skin. Super, super important for all the reasons we just talked about. And then there's vitamin C, which improves collagen production, structural growth of the skin, as well as lightening and brightening the skin. And that's step 2, and that's quench. Vitamin C is also, I should have mentioned earlier, is one of those kind of like retinol type things where it's kind of a must-have as part of a general regimen. And quench is a compound of 3 different vitamin C's in addition to more anti-inflammatories to help reduce pore inflammation and help open the skin channels to allow everything to absorb. And a lot of people will notice as soon as they put this on the skin, it just boom, it enters the skin because of some of the anti-inflammatory actions that come before. And then finally, the one piece that just makes everything, it has retinol in it, it has niacinamide in it, it has moisturize in it, it has lipid complex in it, it has hyaluronic acid for hydration. All of those fundamental categories Illuminate has, and that's step 3 of the trifecta. And even though I would say when I was developing all this, I didn't have it completely in mind, like I want a product that is going to be great for pores. It just turned out that all of these things that we included in the trifecta actually improve pore shape and decrease its size. But the beauty of it is it's just simple. It's like you just 1, 2, 3 and you're done. That's a compilation of the latest and greatest information out there on pores. I think why it's important to have this conversation is because I can't tell you how many people come to me and wanting to spend like $4,000 on a laser because they think it's going to help with their pores, which it does indirectly. It helps with the exfoliation aspect of it, but it's not necessarily going to get rid of pores if you're not doing the basics with skin hygiene and cleansing and all the other stuff. So understanding how everything kind of works and fits together is super important to not only save you time, money, but also get the results you're looking for and get the outcomes that you're hoping for. So I hope this really helped. For those of you who have more questions, drop them down in the comments below. Try to get to as many of them as possible. For those of you who want to learn a little bit more about the trifecta trifecta. Check out the website, KaramMDSkin.com, and follow our Instagram, which we talk about a lot of this skin-related stuff on there as well. But skin is an important topic. We got to get it right, and we got to make it easy for people to understand and navigate through a lot of these different products out there. But again, I wish you well, and I want you to know that this channel is here for you. If you have any desires for any additional topics, drop them in the comments below so that I can share with you guys. It's a passion of mine to bring information forward and make this crazy space of cosmetics and anti-aging as simple and as easy to understand as possible. So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and like it, share it, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so that way we can get more information to you, and make sure you share it with some friends and family who you think would benefit from this knowledge. Thanks again.